Okay, so day 2 of my card pulls. Like yesterday, I'm going to start with the DPT deck. Pull out all the citation cards. Let's see what we got today. So, this is part of a 4-card pull. Or actually a 7-card pull, sorry. But it's part of the Dear Man process. And this is the A card. So, the A is to assert. You assert by asking or by saying no. Write down your direct and clear assertion on your script. Now rehearse your assertion. Concentrate on having a confident tone and experiment with the volume of your voice. Notice how your ability to be assertive improves with practice. A little bit of background, because this is actually something I'm already familiar with. Dear Man is a strategy that helps you get something you'll want or to avoid something you don't want. So, studies have actually shown that if you are more assertive with what you want, you're more likely to get it. So instead of, can I have an ice cream? It's going to be like, hey, I would really like an ice cream. Would you mind getting me one? Just be a little more assertive. For the most part. Now, that doesn't work on everybody. It really doesn't work on narcissists. It really doesn't. So, that just goes back to learning about the people you're with and, being intuitive and trusting that your observation skills will tell you how people respond better to you. But generally speaking, for strangers or people in authority, assertive is better. Now, assertive doesn't mean aggressive. Don't come off all, well, I think you owe me an ice cream. Or, I want an ice cream. Give me one now. Doesn't work. Typically does not work for anybody. Nobody likes to be bossed around or ordered. And once again, I'm having problems with the deck box. Sorry, give me just a second. Okay. Skill building. Once again, we're taking out the citation cards. And I'm going to stick with emotion regulation. There's not many of these cards, unfortunately, and that's what I need the most help with. But we're going to get through this. So today's card is Move. Our lives can get pretty sedentary, but fortunately, the solution is straightforward. Move. Set an hourly alarm on your watch or phone to cue your body to move. You can start by walking around your house, doing some light stretching, or walking up and down a flight of stairs a few times. For extra credit, get outside for a walk or run. Aim for 10 minutes of movement every hour and take note of how you feel after moving your body. And like any skill, remember to stick with it for maximum benefit. Me, personally, what I like to do is yoga. There's a lot of 30-minute videos out there. But, you know, break it up if you want to. Don't, you know, do your whole exercise routine at one time, first thing in the morning. Split it up through the day. Because, honestly, they're not lying. And, you know, moving could be, like, if you're doing homework or if you're working from home, take 10 minutes every hour and clean a room. You know, do your dishes, make your bed, clean your bathroom, take out the trash. That counts as moving. If you're depressed, it will give you a sense of accomplishment, and it really helps. I know a lot of people are like, well, quit telling me to exercise. It's not just exercising when we say move. It's anything that gets you out of your sedentary spot that lets your brain run haywire. Get to moving, get to thinking about other things. And typically it helps a little. It doesn't always help as much as you want or need, but it's a start. So I will definitely agree with that card. Move. So my third card is going to be from my CBT deck. And we've got Be, Act, or Think. And I'm using the thinking cards lately, so I think I want to pull this one. Let's see what this says. Think. Expect the best. This is one I have a lot of problems with because as a paranoid schizophrenic, paranoia is one of my major life-disrupting symptoms. Unfortunately, the paranoia also stems from PTSD. So this is a symptom that comes up with a lot of comorbid issues. Like, I have issues that exist together and they tend to aggravate each other. So paranoia is a really big stumbling block for me in a lot of things. It's getting easier to work through my paranoia and do things that are new or scary. To go places that I've had bad experiences, so I automatically assume it's going to happen again. Or with people I've had bad experiences with. You know, like, I've been friends with somebody for a long time, and it just takes that one bad time, and all of a sudden my paranoia is kicking into high gear. They hate me. You know, I did something wrong. They're out to get me, whatever. And then anytime after that, trying to interact with that person can be absolutely terrifying because the paranoia in my brain just thinks they're going to hurt me in all weird kind of wild ways. So this is talking directly against my paranoia. Expect the best. When you find yourself worrying that something won't turn out well, try making a positive shift in your thinking. Instead of assuming the worst, ask yourself, what if it turns out great? As long as the outcome is uncertain, it's better to assume it will go well and to focus your attention on what you can actually control. Now, I know that a lot of therapists now are looking at interpersonal issues like borderline personality disorder, or what's the other one I have, that codependency is a big one, where you start to obsess with people, or you have an attachment to people, or you become dependent on a person. Like, as somebody with borderline personality disorder and codependency, I tend to have one certain person in my life that I attach to, and they become my favorite person. Now, that's not saying that that person is the one that I turn to for everything and I love them more than anybody else in the world. No. My favorite person is the person that I get the most fulfillment in myself out of, which is bullshit and it's toxic. I hate to admit it, but when I put my self-worth in somebody else, that's actually kind of degrading. And it can be painful for them too, because when I experience a negative situation or emotion or whatever, my favorite person is the person I turn to for validation, for reassurance. So they get a lot of whining and crying. Well, so-and-so did this, and it makes me feel like that. And then they, for whatever reason, feel obligated. Well, they're there. You're not bad. You know, they're making excuses for them. They're building me up. I'm getting my self-worth out of this person validating me instead of me validating myself. And that can overall create an entire just toxic culture. So codependency, BPD, and other interpersonal relationship issues like that are viewed as an addiction. Because face it, we are addicted to feeling good about ourselves. And it almost becomes an obsession with some of us. So, therapists now are treating a lot of those issues like an addiction. Like right now, my codependency workbook, the name of it, I kid you not, 12 smart things to do when the booze and drugs are gone. And that's probably because, you know, when we get that happy feeling, that good feeling, it's because of chemicals in our brains being released. And we get addicted to that chemical being released. We get addicted to the feeling those chemicals cause. So we keep acting out, I guess, in a way to keep getting those chemicals produced. So it is a drug addiction, essentially. So one of the steps in the 12 Smart Things is the Serenity Prayer, just like any NA group, AA group, whatever. You know, the Serenity Prayer is a huge, huge thing. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, which we just saw on this card, and the wisdom to know the difference. The first step for a lot of us is the last step of the prayer, the wisdom to know the difference. Because a lot of times things are out of our control that hurt us. Like you've just gone through a bad breakup. And you want to sit here, what did I do wrong? What could I have done different? Why did I mess this up? You're taking all the blame when usually nobody's to blame. It's just two people that weren't compatible that felt the chemical attractions of love or lust and tried to act on it and tried to make it work. And that it doesn't always work. But when you say, what did I do wrong? Or what did he do wrong? You're trying to control a situation that's out of your control. And you actually think it is in your control, because if I had kept my mouth shut, or if I had done this, if I had done that, if I'd been better, if I hadn't have been so messed up. No, honey. Quit trying to control it. Know that it's not in your control and let it go. Once you are better at discerning what is in your control and out of your control, then you can work on the rest of it. And hopefully break some of those toxic traits. Okay, last card is my ACT card. And this is the one that hit me so hard yesterday, so we're going to go back to this one. And I'm a little scared, but we're going to do the open. Balancing act. Move around while balancing a pillow on your head. Imagine this pillow is your most difficult experience. Notice how hard it is to engage in your life while focusing on balance. What else could you do instead? Yep. This deck is going to be the death of me. Not literally, but oh my god. This deck is going to be the one, I swear to God, that if I just went straight into this deck and worked solely on this deck, my self-care at the end would be probably about 4 days. Because this is going to be a rough one, I can already tell. But so it's time for me to get up and do my morning routine. I've gotten to where I do my daily pulls, then I do my 2 workbooks, I do my journaling, I do my yoga, I do my mindfulness, I do my meditation, then I get my shower, then I eat my breakfast, then I, do a little bit of cleaning around the house, and then probably about the time James gets home, it's time for me to, start winding down, and I can have free time. So I literally am working on myself. So if you want to keep working with me, if you're interested in the decks or the workbooks I'm working in, just let me know. All of the decks can be found on Amazon Prime. They actually have several more decks and workbooks that I'm looking into getting and working with. And I know y'all seen me cry several times now, just in the past 2 days, but, when you start crying because something is giving you advice on how to handle something, and it doesn't tell you what you're handling, and you don't know what it is that you're trying to handle, you don't know what this is pointing to you for, or pointing out for you, that's when the work gets the hardest, because you've got to sit down and you've actually got to go through all of this crap, this shitstorm, if you will, that's in your head, and you've got to go through it until you figure out where these emotions are coming from, because that's trauma. That's something that needs to be healed inside of yourself. So, just work on yourself. Love yourself enough to know that you're worth the effort. You're worth the pain. Because until you heal it, that pain's going to be there. You might not feel it all the time, but eventually something's going to happen that's going to trigger that memory, and it's going to trigger those emotions. And it's going to take you completely by surprise. It's going to hurt a lot worse than the work you're putting in is going to hurt. Because when you're putting in this work, if you get overwhelmed, that's fine. Stop. Take a break. Go outside. Take a walk. Smoke a cigarette. Sing a song. Play a video game. Do something. Get your focus on something else. Let your body and your mind calm down. Let yourself know that you're in a safe space while you process all of this difficult onslaught of information, if you will. Because we've got our whole lives to work on this. We don't want it to take our whole lives. No. Because that means we're going to have to deal with this our whole lives. But we do have the time to take it slow and be gentle with ourselves. And to love ourselves enough to take care of ourselves through our healing. It's like if you break your foot, if you break your foot, you're not going to immediately get up and start trying to walk on it. So when we have a trauma trigger, why are we automatically going to assume that I have to fix this right now? Our brain is just like our body. Our brain is literally a muscle. When things go wrong in our brain, we're not crazy. We're not messed up. Our brain is literally different. We have scientific studies that have shown the MRIs and the CAT scans of an active brain with so many different neurodivergent issues. And they all show the brain differently. There's been scientific studies done where by refocusing your thoughts from negative to positive over the course of years or decades, yes, it takes a long time to do this, but studies have proven that you can literally, physically change your brain. Your neurotransmitters that go off when you're thinking negative, when you start refocusing your brain, you're going to activate those positive triggers, those neurotransmitters. And if you've been dealing with this for a long time, those positives have atrophied. That's why it gets more and more difficult to get out of depression as you get older. But as you start working with this thought refocusing or redirecting, you're going to put more power to those positives. And it's going to get easier and easier for them to start flipping the switch and connecting. And you're going to start noticing that it becomes easier for you to start redirecting your thoughts. When you're in hell, the first couple of times, it's a struggle. If you've been there, you know exactly what I'm saying. You know exactly what I'm trying to say. You can refocus and redirect, but as soon as you stop putting your conscious energy directly into that redirection, what happens? We're back over to negative. It is a lot of work and a lot of effort to stop your thoughts. It is a lot of work and a lot of effort to refocus your thoughts. But it's worth it. It's totally worth it. Because science has proven that, over the years and decades, your brain will literally, physically fix itself. Now, that's not to say like schizophrenia or anything like that that's genetic. We can manage those symptoms, but we can't fix that kind of brain. But a brain that has been mistreated, not necessarily by us, but just by our reactions and emotions, we can fix that. We can fix that. And that's what we're working on. That's what I'm here trying to do, is to give my brain the strength to fight all of my issues. Because a lot of my issues aren't my issues. They're symptoms. They're symptoms of circumstances that I have repeatedly found myself in, or even put myself in later years, because that became my comfort zone. So if you think you need help, I don't care if you need help or not. If you think you need help, get it. Because we're not perfect. None of us are. But that's about my time for today. I do have other things I need to do. So, good morning. Get your water. Make sure you eat. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Allow yourself your emotions. And let's heal. Y'all have a great day.